Now I've heard there was a second Dune that Denny made better than Rebel Moon, but you don't really care for sci-fi, do ya? It stars that Timmy Chalamet looks 17, but he's 28. He was fine in Lady Bird, but how was Dune though? How was Dune though? How was Dune though? How was Dune though? How was Dune Part 2?
Zendaya's strong, but she needs some proof that Paul can ride that Shia LaBeouf. Her beauty in the CGI looks good. Whoa. Well, Duncan Idaho won't appear. Why is Anya Taylor-Joy at the premiere? Dude, all I wanna know is how was Dune, bro?
How was Dune, bro? How was Dune, bro? How was Dune, bro? How was Dune Part 2? Well, Gurney Halleck gets to sing, and there's Austin Butler instead of Sting. You don't think he'll do the Elvis voice, do ya?
His what?
Well, it's nice to see Leah Seydoux, and I guess he marries Florence Pugh. Christopher Walken too. Fuck, how was Dune though? How was Dune though? How was Dune though? How was Dune though? How was Dune Part 2?
You asked me what I thought of Dune. Am I David Lynch or Villeneuve? Go write your letterbox if it matters to you. Yeah, I know Paulette, that great jihad, but to me he's just Willy Wonka. And everybody asks me how was Dune, bro?
How was Dune, bro? How was Dune, bro?
Check it out. It's like,
How was Dune, bro? How was Dune? How was Dune, bro? How was Dune, bro?
fuck, dude.
How was Dune,
You
bro?
know I was all about the popcorn, you know?
Part 2.
Wow. Maybe a part 3. Maybe a part 4. Part 5.
Welcome to You're Tall, But I'm Standing in Front of You, the podcast where two friends circling the drain of academia examine the cultural detritus of the 20th century. I'm Devin.
I'm Ethan.
How's it going, buddy?
It's super, right? It's Super Tuesday. I'm
It is
doing
Super
terrible.
Tuesday.
I'm
Yeah.
doing not super, but everyone keeps telling me that today is super. So
Yeah. Well, I have good news for you.
Okay.
I'm hearing you're not super. I want to perk you up a little bit. So I didn't get a job, which means we don't have to change the tagline of the podcast.
that's great. When I called in that anonymous review of you, that's what I was going for. So good.
Yeah, because I think 50% of the podcast not being gainfully employed entitles us to say we're circling the drain of academia, because like you're fine, but I'm like in the toilet I've like grabbing your like ankle, trying to pull you in, and hope. I'm just hoping one day, somebody in your non-humanities field somehow listens to this podcast, and then you get fired.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time. So
Absolutely. I did feel like if I got a job, we would have had to change the tagline of the podcast because while I do believe that anyone working in academia in any capacity is technically circling the drain, I think it would be a little bit of stolen valor.
yes, for sure.
But the great news is I'm still contingently employed.
Hey.
So, the podcast is great. Ethan, it's a big day for us today. It's not just Super Tuesday. It's Super Dunes Day. it's Twoper Dunes Day.
Wow. That just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. It's the franchise we've really spent the most time with. The filmmaker we've spent the most time with is James Cameron, but the cultural product, the franchise, the IP we've spent the most time with is undoubtedly Dune.
Yeah.
We, of course, did our episode on David Lynch's Dune, where we also talked about the novel a bit. We had our reaction to the film only known as Dune, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't know if they were going to make a part 2, so I guess they decided to call it. It was like Star Wars. You didn't know it was part 4. Yeah,
absolutely. And now we're here for our debut of season 4 of Your Tall, but I'm standing in front of you, and we're here to talk about Dune Part 2. But first, before people stop listening, we have some announcements to make.
Okay. I don't know what are
the Oscar show.
We're doing an Oscar show. Yes. If you're listening to this post haste after it has been released, we will be doing a live Oscar show, and this is now official because Devin did tweet it out, so we're fucked.
We can't back out now. But so March 10th, this Sunday, so you're hopefully listening to this before then, we will be on Twitch, of all the things.
Wow.
Something I don't know or understand, but you've been playing around with a bit, I guess. And we are going to be broadcasting from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. We are counter-programming the Oscars. And we are giving out our own awards that we are in complete agreement are referred to as the standings.
The Tallies.
Well, we're going to have to work this out between now and then.
Yeah.
But it should be a lot of fun. We have various guests coming. We should have the folks from Better Red Than Dead, who you may remember from our Last of the Mohicans podcast coming. We will have Mike Opal from our Saving Private Ryan podcast. We will have Dan Milanowski from the episode on Demons 1 and 2. And Matt Powers, our multi-time Halloween-based guest, should be making an appearance as well, as we give him an honorary standee.
Tolly, yeah.
So it should be a lot of fun. There'll be other surprises. We're not gonna give away everything, but tune in for part, tune in for all. Get in the chat, send us the thumbs up or whatever you do on Twitch.
Yeah, I don't want to put any weight to this, but it's the greatest act of resistance that you can have to the times as they are to watch this live Oscars special.
Absolutely. And we'll, of course, be reacting to the Oscars as it happens. So if you're planning on coming to this and you also plan on watching the Oscars, let us know because we could use some help figuring out what the fuck is actually going on at the Oscars while we're also counter-programming.
Yeah, we can rely on our chat. I will, if you're really into TikTok, it's you want to do this as like one of 4 videos you're watching at once. We are anticipating that. So it is very easy to have our stream up while you're doing 3 to 4 other things as well.
Yeah, you should be like David Bowie and the Man Who Fell to Earth, and just be watching like you should be watching the Oscars, the Your Tall Twitch
Yeah.
stream, and all of the Best Picture nominees simultaneously.
It's you know the architect from The Matrix.
Yeah,
That.
yeah,
That. Anyways,
yeah. So tune in; should be a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And we've also got a lot of exciting stuff coming up this season. So I think you are in for some good episodes. We've got some good
Oh, yeah.
guests lined up. But
and some real stinkers this season too.
Oh,
we've
yeah.
got lined up.
oh, some absolute crap. Some real like, oh, we don't have a guest. What are we talking about? I don't know. Die Hard 4.
You released the Die Hard 4 episode. Yeah.
Watch that. Can we watch that 2 hours before and then
It'll be like the original Star Trek when they weren't able to keep up with the special effects. Like, let's just we'll rerun the pilot, but make it like as part of a new episode. And we'll just like, it'll be a pastiche. It'll be one of those episodes.
yeah, we should just like cut audio from our Aliens and Predator episodes and release it as if it's about Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, just a filler episode. It's like, hey, you remember that time when?
Yeah, remember that time when you spat beer all over my computer screen, and it's really never been cleaned since then. You know,
Yep.
it's like there's nothing like a computer screen when it truly just is unblemished. It's never had to be cleaned, you know, because it's you're very careful and you don't spit beer all over your computer.
I don't know anything about that.
But then your friend comes over to talk about aliens, and suddenly it just seems like no matter how much you you do the little circles and everything, and it just doesn't come.
It's seasoned. It's like a cast iron pan.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's get
All right, brother, let's go.
Yeah, let's get Dune to it.
Yeah.
Dune Part 2. So,
Mhm.
Ethan, before we maybe get into what we thought, I thought maybe we could recap a little for the listeners, and maybe it's not even a recap. Maybe just because I'm sure our feelings have changed in the last couple years.
Impossible.
What we thought. Or what we think today about Dune 1 in particular, but also like Dune as a cultural product, Dune as a franchise, our relationship to it. So, Ethan, going into Dune Part 2, where were you at in relationship to Dune, in relationship to Denis Villeneuve, or whatever?
Right. Who I famously kept referring to in Dune Part 1 as Denis Villeneuve.
You know, I thought he was like fucking Brazilian for years, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He's French Canadian. You
Yes.
know? Like
True. Yeah.
the most oppressed group on the planet.
Yeah. Can't think of any others more oppressed than the Quebecois. Yeah. So we had done a lot of prep going into Dune Part 1. So I think that informed a lot of where I was at just with Denis' take on the whole franchise. And we kind of, I feel like you and I entered into seeing Dune Part 1, which we had an instant react episode on, of being like, well, everyone gives the 1984 Dune a bunch of shit, but actually like that is like, it's a pretty accurate representation of the book. So the thing that I think is interesting about a series like Dune is that the author did a lot of cocaine, and he can't, like, he's just such a like 1960s classical libertarian in the sense that like you really can't nail him down in a way that any modern universe that is created falls into like some really boring silos. Like Rebel Moon just is very boring politics wise. Dude is
or
just
even
really
where like
interesting.
Star Wars is now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Star Wars, even though it's tied to George Lucas and always will be, George Lucas is like also like, I think, a less idiosyncratic person than Frank Herbert was. But
Mhm.
also, like, Star Wars really is like a universe. Dune really is a text. You know,
Yeah.
all the Dune stuff, even if you're getting more into like the sequels or whatever, it's all going back to like this text of the novel Dune.
Mhm.
And because the novel Dune, as we've talked about on this podcast, is fucking batshit insane, uh, probably racist, definitely sexist, but also like kind of radical, but also very libertarian and even fascist at times, right? It's
Yeah.
because it is really the product of one coke addled brain. You
Yeah.
know, it was not the product of focus groups and, you know, algorithms and statistics based on what people like. It was a weird guy who was like, what if I went to the sand dunes because I wanted a visual representation, a visual reference of the amount of cocaine I hope to do in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think we both kind of came away from Dune Part 1 being like, Dune Part 1, pretty interesting, you know, pretty images, but we think the Lynch Dune really has the energy that we want.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, going into this, it's an excitement in that like this is a thing that people are interested in seeing. And I also think it's an interesting text. But again, a little bit of trepidation of is it only now a matter of time before it becomes subsumed in this monstrosity where like I for the half an hour of previews that preceded Dune, it's the MCUification of every single property that exists. So it's like, is this inevitably what happens to something like Dune? So a little bit of trepidation going in, but overall, like, let's see how part two, if he can pull it off. What about you, Devin?
Yeah, I mean, very similar, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, came away from our last Dune episodes very much having concluded that the Lynch Dune isn't just something. I think I originally thought I just thought that film was interesting, just really because it's Lynch and it's weird that he like failed, you know? Came away from it being like, no, that movie slaps actually. And I think my take on the pod was something along the lines of the reason that people hate this movie is because it forces them to recognize what fascism actually is instead of their fantasy of what fascism is. And I felt like Dune 1 was falling, Villeneuve's Dune 1 was falling a little bit into the aesthetic of what like future reactionary boys see in their head when they read Dune. Which is also involves a lot of like blinders as to the fucked up cocaine addled aspects of Dune. So I definitely went into this being like, I'm expecting pretty images. It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially knowing a lot of the more interesting plot events haven't occurred yet in Dune 1, but also feeling like I'm a little bit mid on Dune, and I'm largely mid on Villeneuve as a whole. Like, I think he's made a lot of like good movies, and I'm like, I don't know if he can make a great movie. So that all said, general reactions. What was it like seeing Dune Part 2? What did you think?
I liked it. What about you, Devin?
I gotta be honest, I thought it was pretty fucking good. I thought it was better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's potentially fascist, and you know, I'm sure we could get into that more as we go.
Sure.
At its best, though, there were moments that were, I thought, truly transcendent. Like there was the one in Dune 1, I thought the scene with like where Kynes summons the sandworm, and it's like the really slow shot of the sandworm gradually coming. I was like, that's amazing. I felt like there were more of those images in Dune 2 for me. Like, especially the first like 30 minutes or so, I just felt like I didn't even care what the plot was. I just felt like I was in the world of like 1960s and 1970s, not even sci-fi novels, sci-fi book covers. You know, it's like those painted like crazy worlds, and it was like some of the scenes early of like the Harkonnens in the suits like floating across the sand, and I'm just like, it reminds me of just seeing like a shitty sci-fi paperback, but being like, wow, what a world, you know? And then you read it and you're like, oh, this isn't very good. But, and I have to say the mood in the theater was hilarious. Like, because I've gone to like, your Avengers in the theater. I've gone to some of these other like big franchise movies, and there's always a lot of like when you go to like an early showing. I saw it on the first Friday it was out. There tends to be kind of like this like fanboy sort of like rah rah energy in the crowd that I find pretty annoying. And there was definitely people that were there that like they were like really excited for Dune, but as the movie's going on, I just think it is such, and I do think this is perhaps part of its fascism, because one of the negations of capitalism, or one of the attempted negations of capitalism, when you don't have Marxism on your side, can become fascism, because you're just opposed to the present order of things, and like you're like, oh, people just need to be, there just needs to be order, there need to be straight lines,
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, I think regardless, it is such an assault on contemporary cinematic sensibilities. Like it's such like a fuck you to like the MCU house style.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yep.
that I could feel like it's like the people in the room, like when it ended, everyone was kind of sitting there. And I do think eventually they kind of broke out of it and they started being like, oh, hey, what'd you think or whatever. But it's like people were like, I don't know if I'm supposed to feel happy. I don't know like what I'm supposed to feel right now. I just feel like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I liked seeing that. I was like, I liked that like there's a blockbuster film that people went out to see and they have been left confused. They have been left like questioning to some degree. I'm not saying it was like making them ask like coherent political questions, but like on an aesthetic level, it was, I feel like, assaulting the sensibilities of the audience in a way that I have to respect.
Yeah. So I think this ties into my general reaction to why everyone's sort of a fan of Dune Part 2. Because I think that it sort of had a little something for everybody that you could take away from it, regardless of like how you're coming into it. So like for like the casual leftists, for the social democrats, you have like, oh yeah, it's talking about resistance and ecology and restoring this world to the proper state, and doing that in a way that values the humanity over this exploitative colonial system that exists. It's saying, no, actually the people matter more than the extractive resources. So that's great for those folks to dig into. For the libs, it's got like, oh yeah, it's all sort of just the emperor is the bad guy. He's like, oh, is he like the Donald Trump of this universe? He was just a bad guy, and it's like a hashtag resistance. For your like schizophrenic conservatives, you've got like, oh, it's the women. The women are whispering evils into all of the people's ears and forming this. It's the deep state. And then for like the MCU fans, they can just ignore all of this dumb trying to make it about American politics and be like, it's a very pretty film, and it's a fun sci-fi flick. So I think it sort of has a little something for everyone to take away from it. And that I think gives it some broad appeal.
Yeah. And I really think there's something to be said for the fact that, I don't know, here's the thing. The film is fucked up, right? Like, we've talked about the depiction of the Fremen before, which, going back to the novel, is problematic. There's weird race stuff tied in with that. There's weird, I think both a simultaneous like fascination with Islam, right, and a like orientalizing fascination, and then also an Islamophobia, right? I think it's very weird how like Hollywood has apparently like it's like the firmest glass ceiling in Hollywood right now is being a Middle Eastern person who wants to play a Fremen. Apparently, like they're like, we will cast, and I'm sure there were some Middle Eastern actors playing some of the like minor Fremen, but like the big characters, it's like they're like, we'll hire other people of color to play them, but we do not want to cast Middle Eastern actors for whatever reason. And I think that's weird and fucked up. I understand why they don't want to maybe cast like exclusively Middle Eastern actors, because they don't want it to be like so clearly that they want to be able to have the out of being like, oh, the Fremen aren't exactly Middle Eastern. They're just like they're based on, I'm not endorsing that, but I think that's sort of like the Hollywood producer logic. But I think that's weird. But all of that said, all of those like caveats about the Orientalism and the problems of it.
Yeah.
In kind of a James Cameron sense, and we could think of how, Avatar has the same problems in regards to Native American issues, indigeneity, right?
What?
But again, nonetheless,
yeah.
We've talked a lot about how meaningful it is that Avatar is a film that makes like people in the audience feel like incredible joy at the slaughter of the settler colonial state. Right?
Yeah.
And a similar thing happens in Dune, where again, for all the problems and the white savior tropes and everything, compared to what blockbusters have otherwise been for the most part the last 10 years, I do find some kind of satisfaction in the fact that, in this terrible world we all live in, that people are going to the movies and they are seeing what is essentially the story of an indigenous resistance movement ousting a settler colonial state, and not ousting them in a like PG fashion, killing them, murdering them. Like we are shown frequently the Fremen murdering people. I'm not murdering, sorry, killing people. And it is good. And I agree it's good, but the film is telling you this is good. The film doesn't have any scenes with fucking Paul being like, oh, is it worth it if I have to kill people? It's like, no, they're bad people and they should die. And, again, I'm not trying to say like fucking Dune is leftist or something. Like this isn't a Jacobin article, but I do think on just like a level, like I think the film is perhaps speaking to a not fully articulated dissatisfaction that viewers have with the world as it is. And especially with the world of the MCU films in which nothing can ever change, right? Because the MCU has to go on forever. So it has to always be there's a threat that is defeated and then the normalcy is destroyed. And I think part of why the MCU hasn't been hitting with people lately is because they went so hard with the Thanos thing and the snapping and half of all people not existing. And now they're having to be like, oh, and now it's just another thing. And people are like, wait, what? No, this is a world, like this world would be different.
Yeah. Like if this was an MCU film at the end, spoiler alert, when Paul goes to the Emperor, he'd be like about to stab him, and he'd be like, no. He'd put down his blade and be like, because then I'd be just as bad as the Harkonnens. And then it'd be like, and then we'd be like, wow, I'm gonna give you your power back. And it'd be like, it would be the worst ending possible.
Yeah.
So,
and then the next Dune film would open with Christopher Walken, like, destroying a city with 1 million people in it. And then, like, Paul showing up and just being like, I guess I gotta fight him again. And it's just like, dude, no, kill him. I mean, he doesn't kill the Emperor, but he kills the fucking Harkonnens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we maybe just like walk through the film a little bit?
Yeah, we'll do this. We don't need to do a whole plot recap, but just to set the scene and maybe think about how it ties into what we've been talking about for how this film is a little different, some of the interesting things about it. And again, off the bat, they're calling a film part 2. I mean, we're back, baby. Like, we're back. So
huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And I love that it's part 2. It's not Dune 2. It's not chapter 2. It's Dune Part 2, which I can only think of like Godfather as the franchise that uses part that way.
Yeah.
But even that feels like such an escape from the MCU.
Yeah.
Because can you remember the last time an MCU movie had a number in it? Like there was Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, but it's always like, it's even when we've changed characters, it's like, Captain America : whatever, or Black Panther Wakanda Forever, right? Like it's just a good old fashioned like a number 2, We're seeing the second part of something. A story is continuing. There's like a narrative arc that is being completed, as it were, as opposed to just like 7 million iterations gradually leading towards something. So what happens at the beginning of this film? We see Princess Irulan. She's doing her journaling, which is sort of like, recalls the epigraphs throughout the Dune book that are like from her histories. We see this like kind of opening set piece with the Fremen, with Paul and Lady Jessica kind of like taking down these Harkonnen troops. We're immediately just like, it really is like the classic sci-fi concept of like cognitive estrangement. We're just like in another world. It's orange, like, the color palette is so aggressive, right? The cinematography is also like, it's all like, it's close-ups and it's like super wide shots. It's kind of like we're in 2 scales all the time. There's like kind of like the arc of like, do the Fremen trust Jessica and Paul, right? Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem. I was a little surprised how comical they make him, right? Like were his lines getting like laughs from the crowd where you were?
Yeah, they were, but I'd also sort of think of it as it almost strangely reminded me. Have you seen The Death of Stalin?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, but it's sort of like that. It's almost like his character is like, it's funny until it's suddenly not. And I think they did a good job with that, where his entirety of his character is not played for laughs. It sort of like grows to you to like, hold up, what's going on here? But a lot of laughs with
he has these like lines of like just like how devout he is. It's like Paul will do something and he's like, oh, Paul won't admit he's the Messiah. So that shows how humble he is, which is exactly what the Messiah would do.
Very Life of Brian-esque.
Yeah.
And
I was actually a little surprised by that tone being in it. But so that shit all happens. They end up at like the Fremen place, and the big thing is like Jessica has to drink the water of life, which is like taken from the worms, and who also produce the spice. I think it's basically like, it's just like super, super strong, like spice liquor, basically, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you can think of it
it's
like
like
that.
You're ODing on spice basically when you drink it.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. My wife, who I saw this with, who also fell asleep during Dune Part 1, was very confused about a great many things in this film. And I almost want, like, I don't know how clear it was what was happening with Lady Jessica as she drank the water of life, and because essentially she's getting all of the memories from the other whatever they're called, the
Reverend Mothers.
Reverend Mothers. Yeah, she's getting all those memories, but also they're like, holy shit, you're pregnant. That's because now the baby's gonna know everything too, and that's a fetus should not know. Again, a great scene for anti-abortionists in America. They're gonna look at it and be like, you see, the baby is a person. We keep cutting to shots of the fetus as a thinking being.
But then if you want to be pro-choice, you're like, well, the issue here is that Jessica did not have access to proper natal health, right? She's being forced to take this water of life, and that's what causes this problem, But yeah, basically by doing that, she gets all the memories, but then it's like, and I don't know how clear this is if you haven't read the book, because it causes like the unborn daughter to be able to like speak to her, basically. So throughout the rest of the movie, Jessica will be like, oh, she says such and such. And then you also see scenes of her kind of like psychically talking to the daughter. But the film doesn't really have someone show up and be like, oh, so since you did that, now your fetus is psychic. So much as it just like, somebody goes like, she's pregnant, fuck. And then you also see scenes of like the fetus talking. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to, but I like that they don't
I'm
like,
fine with that.
you know, you don't need to, you could come out of this movie not really knowing why exactly, just being like, oh, this is weird that she can talk to the fetus and like whatever. And I also like that they do get a little cowardly maybe with Alia, but they at least they don't chicken out with that.
Yeah. And we can chat about that towards the end of the film too. But I guess like beyond that, then they start doing more freedom fighting. They are taking down various spice miners, killing Harkonnen, to such the extent that Rabin, the Dave Bautista's character, yep, they're like, well, this guy fucking sucks, and the Emperor's gonna be up our shit about this, so I gotta bring in his brother. I gotta bring in my nephew, who's gonna be more competent because this guy sucks and can't get this shit under control.
Yeah, we've got major like war in Iraq vibes, you know? It's like the Harkonnens, they are slow. They don't understand the environment. They've got these big slow vehicles and they are being taken down by this more guerrilla insurgency army.
Yeah.
That does understand the land. And then we get the wild with the introduction of Fade Rotha, played by Austin Butler. This wild sequence where the film suddenly becomes black and white.
Yeah.
And it's like a gladiator match. It's just kind of like establishing Fade Rotha, like, and it's like his birthday, so he usually fights like drugged guys, but then one of the guys isn't drugged, so he gets to like prove himself on his birthday. What did you think of this part?
I thought it was pretty dope. There's a couple elements to it. One, I think it's from the book. Like this is in the book, right? The gladiator match.
I actually don't remember, but it sounds like the kind of thing I know he's into. Like he's definitely into like gladiator shit in the novel. I don't remember if this specific scene happens or not.
Right, but I think there was something like that also with the Margot Fenring character who was like sort of observing him from the book. It's been a hot minute, but I think that was in there. But it was sort of it did a good job of the exposition, one, of introducing this character, having the cutaways between him and like way up in his tower, the Baron Harkonnen, like as Fade Rotha realized like this motherfucker did not drug this dude. And then also realized like, oh, this is some sort of test. I'm going to take off my shielding device and I'm going to go, one-on-one with this undrugged Atreides soldier. And so that's a good introduction to that character. I also just think visually it was cool. He apparently it was filmed in infrared. That's why it's all so like there was no they didn't just decolorize it. They literally filmed it in infrared, which is why sort of the eyes look kind of black and beady and the teeth are not always showing up. And,
because I was gonna say it's black and white, but it's very stylized as well. Like it's not just like you're watching like I don't know, like Casablanca or something. Like it's black. Like when I say it's black and white, it's black and white. Like there's no gray hardly.
Yep.
It's a very cool effect. And I guess is it just doing that because they don't like, because it's like it's the only scene we see really that's like off Dune, except for some shots of like the Emperor. Is the idea just sort of like this is the visual vocabulary of like Harkonnen land? It's like fucking stark and black and white, or I guess plus we're in the past, kind of.
Yeah, well, my understanding is that Getty Prime, where it takes place, is like orbits what they call like a black star or something. So I think there's some stuff from the books that plays into it. I don't think you could Star Trek, techno garble your way out of this. Big, well, it's because of the blah blah blah. The rays make everything black. Like, I think you just need to accept that it's dope. But I think it works because it is a good juxtaposition between the color of Arrakis versus Giddy Prime and how
Yeah.
that is
It
portrayed.
really makes you feel the absence of the orange all the more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it really does, like, that infrared technique really works to give you the sense that this isn't just a part of the film that is in black and white. It makes you feel like you're in a world that has been sapped of color somehow, like in a much more aggressive way. You know, black and white would almost be like comforting. It's like, oh, like, you know, we're used to seeing Earth in black and white, you know? But I had another question for you that really like was hitting me during this scene in the theater. So, you know, the Harkonnens are all bald. That's sort of their thing. They're like hairless alabaster people.
Yeah.
But then we see this this gladiator match. So there's a huge crowd. Also, the entire crowd is bald.
Right.
So my question is, are like people on the Harkonnen planet like genetically or environmentally bald, or is this some sort of like Kim Jong-un, you have to get one of these 3 haircuts kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, I mean, based on the way that the Harkonnens appear to rule with indiscriminately killing everybody around them, it could be a little column A, a little column B. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know that we can say for sure, but I think like if I had a set of hair on that planet, I would shave it real fast. I don't want to stand out in a crowd on Giddy Prime is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you really don't want the Harkonnens to notice you at all. It's a little hard to believe there wouldn't be some kind of resistance movement on the Harkonnen planet. Like, but you know, the film's maybe not beating fascism accusations here in terms of like the Harkonnen people. It's like the film seems to think are like a lesser people. Like they are savages. And then the Fremen, it kind of like idolizes, you know, the Fremen who maybe the rest of the Empire thinks of as savages. This film is kind of maybe fetishizing a little, a lot, you know, in kind of like a Dances with Wolves Avatar sort of way.
But I will say the one thing that I think they did well that I think was a little better than David Lynch's Dune too is the Fade Routha character is actually feels like a real character, doesn't feel one-dimensional, doesn't feel like just he's gonna do the evil guy things. Like he actually feels like a person with emotions, as psychotic as he is. He's still, after this whole gladiator match where the Atreides soldier wasn't drugged, he confronts Baron Harkonnen and is like, yeah, fuck you, buddy. You tried to kill me today. And Baron Harkonnen's like, I was helping. He's like, you know, I don't know why Baron Harkonnen was Winston Churchill in that moment, but it's a bit more
leaders flirting with fascism, but
we will fight them on the dunes. You will fight them. Anyways, he feels a bit more multidimensional in a way that I think works very well.
Yeah, and I think the scene, like, it does a good job of kind of giving you this glimpse of what is kind of a fairly complex character psychology, right? It's like he didn't ask for this, right? It's not like he was not the orchestrator of it, where he was just like, yeah, let's create this situation so people love me when I do this heroic gladiator deed. Once he's in it, though, he reacts to it in a certain kind of way, right? But then he also, the fact that you see him I really liked, the fact that he gets upset after at the Baron. It would have been very easy to not have that scene, and then you're just like, okay, this guy just doesn't give a fuck. But it's like, oh no, he is like, yo, dude, don't fucking, you know, don't try to kill me. But he also is like, I mean, if someone's gonna try to kill me, though, I'm not gonna be a pussy about it, you know? Like,
yeah. And I'll just a quick aside, because you know we wrote our How Was Dune Though song before we saw this film. Very surprised with Austin Butler. I thought we were gonna get a Elvis-esque, you know, but I've been watching Masters of the Air, which is the Band of Brothers knockoff about like the air war in Europe, and he's in that, and he's just doing the Elvis voice again. And so I'm sort of in the mindset that, oh, this guy he got Elvis pilled, and that's all he can do. He can't turn that off. and he does a really good Stellan Skarsgård impersonation throughout this film.
Yeah. I mean, so that is true. And it
Yeah.
does make sense to me that that is the decision because, like, Skarsgård has kind of established what the Harkonnens are like.
Mhm.
So he's just kind of being like, okay, so like Skarsgård isn't just like idiosyncratically this way. It's like, oh, it's a family. He would kind of sound like him. I do say it's not beating the like Austin Butler can only do like a voice accusations necessarily because it's like
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
instead of impersonating Elvis, you're impersonating Stellan Skarsgård. But for this, it's a villainous role. It is a broad strokes role. It works. It's not, and I do think he brings like a vibe to the character. Definitely think he does a better job than Sting. Like, even as a defender of that movie, Sting is not the best part of it.
So, anyways, we've got Fade Routha. He comes to planet Arrakis. He takes control of things. He fucks things up. Their Sietch, whatever it's called, is just demolished by the Harkonnens. They kill everybody, and Paul realizes that he has to go south.
Yeah, and there's been like, he's having these visions. He's like, if I go south, bad shit happens.
Yeah. Which was when I was moving to Mississippi, I had the same visions. I'm like, I can't go south. I know what terrible things will transpire if I go down there. But eventually you have to.
Yeah, it's really an idea from the books too, is like, this sense that like Paul is he is kind of like the white savior control character, but also part of the books is like thinking about what if you were that character and then you lost control over the thing you had unleashed, So you're trying to do dances with wolves and it gets a little out of hand, It turns into intergalactic jihad.
Which, by the way, they don't say the word jihad at all in this.
Yeah. Point against it from the books, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, and because it is like, the language they use, it is like this like amalgam of like Arabic and other languages. I just think also like, especially like post 9/11, the word jihad has such associations with Anglophone audiences, right?
Oh yeah.
However correct or incorrect. I can understand being like, a little hesitant about that.
Sure.
But so anyway, to yada yada the rest of this, Gurney Halleck comes back. He gets a little bit of a song. I wish he had just been singing the lyrics of the poem he wrote about Timothée Chalamet.
Yes.
Man, watching their interactions, it was so funny having the context of that poem he wrote, because anytime Josh Brolin is looking at Chalamet in this movie, you could it's so obvious that yes, he's gonna write a poem about this guy. Like he's looking at him with just like this sense of satisfaction of like it's not even like necessary. It's not like just like, oh, it's like this homoerotic desire or something. It's just he's like, you're it, man. You're the dude. Everything's gonna happen via you. I am just like taking a seat on the Paul bus. Like, no questions asked.
Yeah.
They get the family atomics from like the mountain, so Paul has nuclear weapons now. Which, if you're gonna go to war, always good to have. But yeah, they're in the South.
And I will say the big thing when he goes south is he then also drinks the water of life, which men are not supposed to do. It kills them.
Yeah, because as we all know, via Frank Herbert, gender is objective. There are two genders. And if you disagree, all I'm saying is drink from the water of life and find out. But then wait. Paul drinks from that water of life.
I will push back a bit on here, because this is again the coke-addled mind of Frank Herbert. Is he also somehow stumbles upon something that is maybe not that binary in the subplot that is not, I don't think, as clear in the film, that Paul was supposed to be born a woman. but
Oh yeah,
was
that's
born
right.
a man. And that is why he's able to walk between these worlds of like being a man, but also drinking the water of life. And so it's subtly, I think, something a bit more complex that I don't think Frank Herbert had anything interesting to say about in terms of
Yeah,
gender.
yeah.
But you could deconstruct it in a
It
way
is
that I
kind of
think
interesting,
is more
yeah.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
and part of how that works, right, is Bene Gesserits can control the sex of their child, right?
Right,
They have this like
yeah.
ability, right? And so like Jessica's just like, oh, but Leto really wants a son, right?
Yeah.
But so I think the reading you could do of this, right, again, like kind of contra Herbert maybe, is like Herbert is imagining gender in this very kind of strict biological and mystical way almost. But then he also recognizes that the most powerful thing then in the universe that in which gender is objective and not socially constructed would be someone that could somehow, in spite of that, be trans, basically, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you were trans, though, you would be able to undo all of this.
Mhm.
And there maybe is, even though that's sort of a coming maybe from a somewhat reactionary libertarian place, there maybe is something to that in the sense of we see now, obviously, being trans is not something that requires some kind of magical powers or divine intervention. Just many people are trans. But the existence of trans people is such a threat to the right because they are maybe subconsciously perceiving how the entire regime of gender is essential to the entire oppressive structure of the system as a whole, right? So maybe Herbert is also kind of intuiting that, but then also is like, but how could somebody be a different gender? That would be crazy. You would need the power of science fiction to imagine that, right? So he can't imagine that it would actually be a very trivial thing that then half the country would like be prepared to like, destroy themselves over. I don't know, let's not have schools because we can't be sure that kids won't decide to be trans or gay.
Most important issue in this country, surely. Yeah,
let's
build a whole
replace them
party
with prisons.
platform. Yeah, great.
But so anyway, he goes south. He drinks the water. What, like Zendaya like cries or something, and that somehow resurrects him. That's a little like it just kind of is a thing that happens, right? It's like the prophecy. And Zendaya, we should say throughout this, right? She's kind of like the doubter. She's like not the religious one, and then like Stilgar is the religious one. But he unites everybody, and then they fucking like kick ass, right?
Yeah, he's different after he drinks the water of life. He can see the past and future, and so he's like, I know the straight and narrow path of what I got to do. It's gonna be a big old space jihad. So let me just use my magic tricks now, where I can talk to someone and be like, hey, I saw you masturbating last night. What do you think about that? And the guy's like, my God, he's an algia. So he's so like that's he does some of those to get to win
He's essentially becomes the galaxy brain meme guy, right? Like he's the guy at the end of the meme. He can just see all the connections. Yeah. Go on.
So then they're like, all right, let's put this shit together. Now, in the meantime, he sends a message to the Emperor, Shaddam IV, played by Christopher Walken, being like, I'm Paul Atreides. I'm still alive.
The obvious
Fuck
casting
you.
that you would go to for that role.
Oh, yeah. So now the Emperor knows that the fucking Harkonnens did not kill Paul Atreides. And so he's like, I'm gonna come down there and set things straight. I think he's sort of egged on to do this by the Bene Gesserit. They're like, you got to do something about this.
They're all manipulate. There's a bunch of Bene Gesserit that we haven't really talked about, but they're all kind of, they're up to shenanigans. They're manipulating Fade Rotha. They're manipulating the Emperor, right? The women really have the behind the scenes power in Herbert's universe, definitely for reasons that have nothing to do with like paranoia about women or anything, which again feeds into his idea that like, well, so men are obviously really strong, but women are conniving. So like if thank God, because if someone was both strong and conniving, which is impossible, but then wait a second.
Yeah, that is a central thesis of Dune. So
Mhm. It's essentially like if another dude was really pretty, your girlfriend would probably leave you for him. That's basically like the fear that like, if there was another guy who like knew how to like express his feelings, I would be divorced, is basically the anxiety behind this
yeah,
story.
yeah. So all the pieces are set now. The Emperor comes to Arrakis. Paul has won over the Fremen. He has the nuclear arsenal. So once the Emperor lands with all of his Sardaukar troops, the Fremen just attack. He blows up a mountain so the worms can get through, and then the worms get through. So there's a lot of shit that happens, but he just like raffle stomps the Sardaukar and the Emperor's troops, and I guess the Harkonnen troops that are there. Comes in and he's like, "Hey, Emperor, you suck. I'm gonna marry your daughter and become the Emperor. You're gonna step down, but hey, we got to do our. We should do a battle, right? We got to do a trial by combat, I guess,
Mm.
essentially."
Yeah. Well, so there's one thing first though we should talk about,
Oh,
which is he kills the Baron.
oh yeah. So we
He
can, yeah.
stabs the Baron in the neck, and this is maybe the biggest difference between this film and the book,
Mm-hmm.
because in the book, of course, Paul's sister, who has already been born and is like, in addition to being a talking fetus, is now like an incredibly precocious young person,
Yeah.
is the one who gets to murder the Baron. And this is where the film kind of chickens out a little bit, where it gives us like a single dream vision with an uncredited Anna Taylor-Joy cameo. So I guess if they make Dune 3, she'll be playing like we'll jump in time or whatever, and she'll play a
Yeah.
grown version of the sister. But they kind of are like, because I remember just being like, we're getting more and more into the film, and I'm like, wait, is like Jessica just gonna give birth in middle of this battle, and then the baby like just fucking starts
Yeah.
running, But
Yeah.
they just have Paul do it.
Yep.
But then we have the duel.
Yeah. And I guess they got rid of the whole poison subplot that was important in the book and maybe in David Lynch's Dune, where Fade Routha has a poisoned dagger. Anyhow,
Yeah,
Paul wins and kills Fade Routha, who again is sort of like, well, I guess I gotta do this fighting thing. And then when he gets killed, he's like, man, good job. You're pretty dope. Anyways, I'm dying now. So
yeah.
yeah, so that's, and again, I wanna emphasize that originally, according to the plan, Fade Routha was supposed to marry Paul if Paul would have been born a woman. So they're like locked in battle, although the plan was that they would be lovers. So
Yeah, yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
classic Eve Sedgwick, right? Two men, they couldn't fuck. That would be impossible,
What?
right? So instead, they have to stab each other with knives until one of them is dead.
Yeah.
And there's nothing queer about that.
And then immediately after that, it's like all the houses had been called by the Harkonnen, who Baron Harkonnen was freaking out because the Emperor showed up. So he's like, call all the other fucking houses. So the other houses are in orbit, I guess. And I think Gurney Halleck's like, the other houses say they're not gonna respect you. And so Paul's like, what do you say, boys? Space jihad? And so all the Fremen, led by Stilgar, are like, yeah, they get on the ships and it's like they're going space jihading, and that's the end of the film.
Dune 2.
Dune 2. Can I tell you one thing that I think was really missing from that last scene?
What's that?
So I think it would have been really good if
Even just like pulled the book out, FYI.
if the very last line was Lady Jessica. Because one difference is Chani, played by Zendaya, just like fucks off. It's like, this is fucked up. You're gonna marry this princess, like when we were supposed to be in love. Fuck that. Whereas that is not what happens in the book. So what perhaps could have alternatively happened is what happens in Dune the book, where Lady Jessica. So again, just imagine Rebecca Ferguson turning to Zendaya and saying this: do you know so little of my son? See that princess standing there, Florence Pugh? so haughty and confident. They say she has pretensions of a literary nature. God. Let us hope she finds solace in such things. She'll have little else. A bitter laugh escaped Jessica. Think on it, Chani. That princess will have the name, yet she'll live as less than a concubine, never to know a moment of tenderness from the man to whom she's bound. While we, Chani, we who carry the name of concubine, history will call us wives.
Yeah, dude.
End credits. Dune Part 2.
Man, I was like watching the scene the whole time, and I was like, because they do have Paul. Their nod to that is Paul tries to right before he proposes the marriage thing. There's this line to Chani where he's like, "I'll love you until my dying breath," or whatever he says.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Anyway, hey, Florence Pugh, do you want to get married?" And I was like, they're not gonna do it, are they? Because also the Lady Jessica in this is a lot more menacing.
Yeah.
You know, and not as verbose. You know, she's a little more of a like kind of just malevolent presence of sorts. But I was like,
Yeah.
God, are they gonna have Lady Jessica explain to Chani like, don't worry, he's not gonna fuck her that often? Like, and the fact that there's not a single line after that, the book ends with a quotation mark. It's so fucking insane. Like, and this is why I just think, you know, don't take Dune off the pedestal, man. Yeah. Again, like, it's a ton of fucking fun, but it's like the movie literally ends with like a mother-in-law assuring a girlfriend that her husband won't be horny for his legal wife.
Yep. Just libertarian things.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, you know, this film ends with Chani, you know, getting on a sandworm and fucking off. So like, you know, that's kind of that's what happens when you don't have your mom explain these things.
Yeah. Come on.
You know, women have a really hard time understanding politics if it isn't explained to them in very direct dialogue. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's Dune 2.
Dune 2. So, Devin, one of the big things about Dune is it had a bit of a stacked cast. I thought it would be good for us to just do a quick rundown of the principles of seeing how we feel those performances went in Dune Part 2.
Sounds great. Yeah, you would be hard pressed to find an actor in this that I hadn't previously heard of, as long as I said you weren't allowed to name Suhaila Yakub. But everybody else, you know, big names.
So maybe we could start with Javier Bardem as Stilgar. Devin, what did you think about this role?
I'm a little torn here, to be honest. Like, I enjoy him. It's, you know, Javier Bardem's a great actor. He has the gravitas to sell the serious stuff, and like the funny stuff he's doing was like, it was a nice little tone shift for the film, though it did feel like a little condescending and like kind of like making fun of like people with certain kinds of religious beliefs, maybe.
Yeah.
And it feels like maybe for me, it's a pass. It's an honorable discharge, but without commendation. Like, I don't really think he distinguished himself that much, but he like showed up, he did a good job, and he cashed his check. What do you think?
I think that's fair. I thought the little humorous moments were humorous, but maybe lingered a bit too long. I do think by the end, when he is very much like a fervent acolyte, it doesn't seem as fun as at the beginning, which I think is good. And
I guess I would have liked to see more transformation, though. It kind of felt like he just kind of was that all of a sudden, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's fair. So I think I would agree with you there. If they do their Dune Part 3, I would be curious about, like, he needs to get real down and dirty in Dune Part 3 for you to be like, oh, this is actually a terrible sequence of events for him that has befallen.
Yeah,
then that might redeem it in the long run.
Yeah, there is some real potential for Stilgar to have a really interesting character arc in the third film,
Yeah.
or he could not. we'll,
Yeah.
we'll see. And I guess we're assuming a third film is happening, but based on the early box office returns, it's looking pretty good to me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, the indication I've gotten is that it seems pretty likely that they're going to do a part 3. So we'll see, though. He's got a lot of other stuff going on, Denis. So we'll see. Next up is Charlotte Rampling as the head Bene Gesserit. What did you think of that?
Oh, she's the best. Always love Charlotte Rampling. She's playing underneath like these really annoying like veil things
That's
they
true.
wear half the
Yeah.
time. I don't even know if she ever is unveiled in this film. Is she?
I don't think
Because
so.
like the other
Yeah.
Bene Gesserit definitely are, but I feel like she's always in like these very elaborate costumes, and nonetheless, it's like I always know it's her, and it's not just the voice; it's like very distinctive presence, and I think she
Mhm.
fits the role perfectly. What about you?
No, she's fantastic. I am curious. Did she fuck Baron Harkonnen back in the day? Is that the implication we get?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay, because I know that we know that Lady Jessica is Baron Harkonnen's daughter. I did, and like, there's that scene where she's kind of mentioning like, I can't go to Getty Prime. I need to send someone else because no, it can't be the case because he murdered his mother, right? Fade Routha murdered his mother. I don't know. Anyhow,
All
she
right,
was
so
great.
do you want to know what I did some Wikipedia searching? If you want to know what happens in Prelude to Dune.
Tell me.
Mohiam, this is the Charlotte Rampling character, is instructed by the Bene Gesserit to collect the genetic material of Baron Vladimir Harkonnen through conception. That's an interesting way of saying she's instructed to fuck him. For their breeding program, she blackmails the homosexual Baron into fathering a child with her. When that daughter proves genetically undesirable, she kills it and then returns to Harkonnen for a second try, at which point he drugs and viciously rapes her. She extracts her retribution by infecting him with a disease that later causes his obesity.
Oh, wow.
The second child is Jessica.
Wow. Okay. So
she is
okay.
Jessica's mother with Harkonnen,
Okay.
and she gave him a disease to make him obese. That is such fucking Frank Herbert style sci-fi shit. Everything has to have an explanation. You know what I mean? It can't just be like, oh, the Baron like, you know, has that body type, or maybe like, you know, has a taste for the sweets or something. It has to be, oh no, he was given a disease by a magical nun that makes him fat.
Yeah. So again, props to Charlotte Rampling that I was able to suss that out without actually knowing any of that. Great acting.
That's the subtlety of the acting. Yeah.
Yeah. Stellan Skarsgård returns as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. What did you think, Devin?
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's the best. You compare this portrayal to the one in David Lynch's Dune of the Baron, and I like them both actually. You know, for the films those are, but the villain this film needs, Stellan Skarsgård provides it, I think, expertly. I love Stellan Skarsgård when he's a villain. The character is homophobic, fatphobic, and all kinds of fucked up. Can't really defend the character at all, but if you gotta have someone play that character, it might as well be Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah. Very good. And I agree in comparing this to David Lynch's Dune, you don't need that kind of flamboyancy with the Baron Harkonnen because you have that kind of gusto with Fade Routha, I feel. So it's sort of a more subtle kind of vibe going on with Baron Harkonnen that I think plays well as the villain in contrast to some of the other Harkonnens that you see going on there. So I thought that, I mean, he's put him in anything, it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, you're never unhappy when you're never watching a movie and Stellan Skarsgård shows up and you're like, fuck this. You're just, you're like, yeah, Oh, like you could be watching the shittiest Netflix streaming thing, and then he shows up for the last like 15 minutes, and you're like, oh, thank God, I'm tuning back in. I'm putting my phone away. You know?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Suhila Jakob, could be wrong in the pronunciation, so apologies. But that was the Chinese friend, Shishkali. What did you think of her?
Yeah, I mean, she's fine. I didn't really love this character. This character felt, and this is a character I don't know if it's in the books or not. I don't remember this character from the books. It's the most feels like just like generic action movie. We need a character to fill this role thing. Like we need someone for Chani to sort of talk to about her ambivalences. I also completely missed her death somehow. I don't know if it happened when I was in the
Oh.
bathroom,
Yeah.
but like the minute you meet her, you're like, oh, this character is here to die.
Yeah.
And I somehow did not even know. I figured she was going to die at some point. And then I literally left the movie being like, wait, was she still alive at the end? And then I read like the Wikipedia was like, oh, she died. I missed that. So I can't say the performance like grabbed me or anything. It's there's nothing wrong with it, but not my favorite part of the movie, I would say.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I think Fade Routha kills her when he comes and clears out all the Fremen, and yeah, you can tell right away, like you said, that she is destined to die because all these other named characters that also have to be in Dune Messiah can't die, and you have to have some stakes, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the red shirt. She does a fine job as the red shirt.
Leah Sadu.
Love Leah Sadu in general. Like, as in, I'm in love with her. I'll marry her if she wants to marry me.
Leah, if you're listening.
Yeah, fuck Andre Meyer, your husband, who I am told nothing about. Only identified as partner of Leah Sadu. So I mean, geez, he must suck ass. That actually sucks to hear because it seems like I really had a chance, you know? Like this guy's a nobody. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, but I mean, you sort of like that can be your whole deal, you know, to be partner of Leah Sadu. Like you don't need to. Why do you have to balance all the other things you could be doing?
I love it. I would completely devote myself to the role as well. The only thing coming up for Andre Meyer on a quick Google is that there was a French-American investment banker named Andre Meyer who died in 1979. I'm going to choose to believe that they are related. And so fuck you, Andre Meyer, and your like Nepo baby financier money. Get off of Leia Sadu. But yeah, you know, she doesn't get a lot to do in this movie.
No.
But the movie basically asks her to be the like blank-faced kind of mysterious French woman that she's very capable of being. I think she comports herself well enough. It feels like she's kind of being set up to be more of a character going forward.
Yeah. And she's not in Dune Part 1, right? This is just like...
No, this is her first appearance.
She exists to do the Gom Jabbar to Fade Routha in this
I mean,
film.
that's a very sexy scene. We didn't really talk about that, but when she kind of like acts like she's seducing him and then she's like, put your hand in the box. Like, all I want in life is for someone like Leia Sadu to tell me to put my hand in the box, you know? Like...
But to be clear, Fade Routha, like, he's into pain. So it's whatever your deepest and darkest kinks are. That's what she then in that moment tells you to do after everything. You think you're getting led on, and then suddenly she does the one thing that you're really secretly into.
Yeah.
So it's even more,
okay. So for me, it would be Leia Sadu telling me to. It would be Leia Sadu telling me to update the metadata of all of my MP3s so that the O in all of the ofs and the A in all of the ands was lowercased. You know, something I finally stopped doing in like 2017, but I'm just waiting for someone to tell me that actually it's a good idea. You should keep doing it.
Yeah, it's been pent up all these years. So
yeah, and man, I can't even think of what disarray the genre tags are right now. You know, like, but yeah, I think she's great.
Yeah. Which brings us directly to Christopher Walken. as Shaddam IV, the Padishah Emperor. What'd you think?
I'm in kind of a similar spot with Walken as to Bardem,
Hmm.
in that, but lower, I would say, because like it's I don't know, it's like he does a fine, like when you heard that Christopher Walken got this role, it was like that's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like he doesn't really do a Walken thing, he just kind of does like a serviceable job, you know.
Yeah.
But in that case, I'm like, why do you cast Walken? You know, if he's not gonna like, you know, get to be Walken. So like he does a fine job, like, but he could have been anyone, you know.
Mm.
And the character's a non-character. Like in the novel, like the Emperor is just literally like it's a human cardboard cutout. But I don't know. He didn't really do. I love Christopher Walken, but he didn't really do anything interesting with it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I don't know. What do you think?
I just like props to Denis Villeneuve for like hiring Christopher Walken, because he probably just wanted to be able to say that he had Christopher Walken as an actor on his film. Yeah, Christopher, and props to Christopher Walken for taking the role, because like that's a fat paycheck for doing nothing. So
yeah.
because he's of the caliber that he is, he can go in there, do like his 3 scenes, do them well, and be done with it, collect the paycheck. And so for that, actually, mad props to everyone all around for that.
He's not just collecting the paycheck, baby. He's collecting residuals. The residuals on Dune. Because here's the thing. They keep making fucking Dune movies. Every fucking couple years, every jackass is going to be like, oh, time to rewatch all the Dunes. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
gonna
it's
be a
not just
thing.
that this is a movie that's going to do well in the box office. Because it's part of a saga, it is going to be rewatched, re-rented, re-released so many times.
Yeah.
So Christopher Walken, just, you know, now that you've got the Dune residuals coming, just please do some weird movies the next few years.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that actually might work out best for all of us. Dave Bautista.
Fantastic. Dave Bautista, I'm going to say, is the best pro wrestler turned actor of all time.
Not even a question. Like, there's not even a debate, I feel, at this point. Like,
Yeah.
you can't even,
Fuck The Rock.
Mhm.
The Rock might be the most famous of all time. And I think there was a path The Rock could have taken, like if he had gone down the Southland Tales path, but he has decided to become the most boring actor on the planet because he's afraid of failure. And that is a direct threat, and I challenge him to come on the podcast and defend himself.
Do it. I bet you won't.
Yeah.
I bet you won't, Dwayne.
Yeah. And here's what Dave Bautista would do. Dave Bautista, one, he could kick The Rock's ass. He's in great shape.
Yeah.
But he is not afraid of failure. He's not afraid of being embarrassed. He's not afraid of being made fun of. Robin is a pathetic character in this film.
Yep.
The Robin's arc is realizing that a guy who looks tough is actually a pussy.
Yep.
And Dave Bautista completely embraces that.
Yeah.
He dies like a fucking cowardly dog in this movie when Gurney Halleck kills him. And that rules.
Seems like Zurich has a few things to say about these
Zurich
roles
is very
too.
excited. Listen,
He's really,
we're on a tight deadline tonight, folks. So I do not have time to get my dog to stop playing with his pig. We just have to keep going. So sorry about that.
That's just part of the.
It's a callback to his role in our Dune Part 1 podcast.
Yeah. I agree. Dave Bautista is fantastic because he plays that sniveling character that has this veneer of being strong, especially in the first film. And then you realize, like, every time he tries to act on that, he gets humiliated. And I thought that was dope. So well played by him. Florence Pugh, Princess Arulin.
Don't really like the performance, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought she was maybe my favorite part of Oppenheimer. Here, I don't know.
Tell us why, Devin. Tell us why.
Well, she's very hot. But like, you know, I just thought that character was really interesting. You know, there was like the communist stuff. It was like there was like kind of a dark edge to her, you know. The Princess Irulan, again, it's kind of a blame role. Like the Emperor. Like, you know, if you're part of the imperial government in the Dune universe, you're a placeholder. You're lame.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just didn't think like. I think a different actor could have maybe approached the stolid. Cut it out, please. The stolid nature of it a little more aggressively. I'm just taking the pig. Go get your bone or something. Go get your bone. I can't. I just can't. I can't keep it from him.
Oh.
It's like keeping the spice from the Fremen, you know. It's their entire reason for living. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't love it. It was fine, but you know, I didn't really. Her, and I think part of it's like they're doing a lot of their scenes together, and those scenes don't have a lot of energy. They're mostly exposition scenes. But her and Walken to me really didn't bring the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And I know and I say that with respect because I know both of them are capable of doing that. Like this, I just feel in this particular movie, I don't know. You?
Yeah, agreed in that she didn't really have a whole lot to do. There's a lot of interesting things with that character around a person who is very capable and intelligent being put into an impossible position. And a like political marriage. And they sort of hint at how she knows how the cards are being set up. She knows what's happening, that she's either going to be fucked over by marrying Fade Rautha or fucked over by marrying Paul, whoever wins this tussle. And so there's a lot of interesting things you could do that with that, but like it's a 2-hour 45 movie, and I feel like it would just perhaps muddy it if they made her character more interesting. So I can't. It's hard to thread that needle.
Yeah, if
so
you were doing like
fine.
a Game of Thrones season version of this story, I think you could have actually developed those Florence Pugh scenes to having some kind of like palace intrigue.
Yeah.
But in the movie as it stands, she's not doing much. Again, someone that I could see having a rebound performance in Dune 3.
Yes. Austin Butler, Fade Rautha.
It's fucking great. He's literally just doing a Stellan Skarsgård impersonation, though. Vocally, at least. This is sort of the Austin Butler problem. It's a fantastic physical performance. Fantastic. It
really
recalls
good
to me like Nicholas Hoult in Mad Max Fury Road. Not just in the baldness, but also in just like, I don't know, the sort of weird, like almost slithery physicality of it. Which is great. But the voice is a problem for him. He seems like he can only do voices with a capital V. But this is like fucking this is a B movie, but we live in a culture in which B movies are A movies. But like, you know, that's all we need from him. And so like job done, you know, solid like 4 stars out of 5.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said before, I was impressed with how he did on this versus how I thought he would do. I thought he owned the role very well. Like you said, the physical acting and the subtlety of some of his reactions to what's going on, like his reaction when the Baron Harkonnen gets stabbed in the neck is sort of like, ooh, all right. And when Paul does the voice, he's like, oh, hot damn, this kid's got moves. Just like a very subtle kind of reaction that I think added depth to the character in a way that maybe is not as clear reading it on a page. So I think he did really well in bringing that to life. Like you said, he did a very good Stellan Skarsgård, but can he do his own voice? I don't know. Or perhaps in a future role, he could do a combination of Stellan Skarsgård and Elvis, which I would also be equally interested in seeing. So
imagine like it's like that Tom Cruise bit from Elvis where he's just like he finds out the guy's white and he's like he's white, and then it cuts to fucking the infrared scene with fucking Fade Rautha.
That's exactly what I was thinking as I was watching that scene. Is just cutting to you said Tom Cruise, but Tom Hanks.
Oh, Tom Hanks, sorry.
So I was a bit confused at first, but I would imagine them cutting to Tom Hanks in the crowd going, he's white. He's white. So
He's white?
What do you think, Texarkana?
yeah. Josh Brolin.
I mean, the thing is, it's great. I don't know if it counts as acting because he authentically, I think, is in love with Timothée Chalamet. But you know, it's in the eyes. It's all in the eyes.
Yeah. He really leads into the bro in Brolin for this. Yeah, he can. I will admit, I was taking a restroom break as he was introduced. As I was leaving, though, I heard him singing, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's a dude singing with a balisette." They're introducing Gurney Halleck. So I will admit, I missed probably a bit there.
I mean, he's pretty much introduced on the song. So you see the spice smugglers up to shit, and then you don't really know what's happening, and then you get a shot of just like the guitar neck and the song, and you're like, oh fuck, it's Gurney Halleck's music, literally. So you didn't miss much.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I have nothing else to add to that. It's fine. Whatever. Rebecca Ferguson, Lady Jessica.
Fantastic. Great job. She's one of the people that really gets to transform in this movie, you know, quite literally. She becomes like the Reverend Mother.
Yeah, she gets more dripped out as the film goes along.
Absolutely. And she becomes really villainous, and she really sells it. And she is another woman that can have keys to my house if she would like them. yourtallpod@gmail.com, Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know, if you want keys to my house, if you want my social security number, my mother's maiden name, you know, just let me know.
Yep.
So for her to actually become terrifying, and I would say like not like unattractive, like ugly, but like she becomes a character that like your relationship to as a viewer is one of kind of like unsavoriness and horror, right?
Yeah.
I think is quite impressive.
Yeah. I mean, as with all of these, I agree with you on this. It's she really pulls off the menacing aspect really well, beyond just when they do the voice effect of the voice when she says things, but like she really pulls off the menace of like, when she's talking with her unborn fetus and be like, we need to draw in the weak amongst us. Like she's doing all this thing of like, here's how we do a religion, and it is creepy, and it sort of like shows her kind of staring at the children of the Fremen children. Yeah, it's just she does really well with it. Again, I think that the only strike against is she could have ended with the line from the book, and that really would have tied it together.
Yeah.
So,
there should be an alternate. They should release a Blu-ray that's like an alternate ending you can turn on.
it's a director's cut, and that is the only change.
It's like you're the entire time you're like, when are there going to be a difference? You're like talking yourself into differences that weren't really there. You're like, oh yeah, I don't think they just introduced Gurney Halleck with the guitar or whatever, you know, like,
yeah,
that would rule.
Anyway.
It sucks that we've had two versions of this story and neither of them ends that way.
Yeah,
I would say the Lynch Dune movie, it doesn't end literally with those words, but I feel like it ends with the spirit of those words, you know?
Yes. Yeah, more so than Villeneuve's.
Have you seen the BBC series or the sci-fi series or whoever made it? The mini one?
So
I'm curious if that. Can you imagine watching like an 8-hour version of this and then that's how it ends? Like, we'll have to do the mini series someday because we have to finish. We have to finish Dune, right?
Yeah, I know. So we'll do that. Great. So there you go. And again, go back and listen to our episode on Dune, the book, and Stephen Lynch's Dune.
Stephen Lynch's Dune.
Stephen Lynch's Dune. Now you've got my attention.
It's like the Drake meme, but it's like David Lynch's Dune. No thanks. Stephen Lynch's Dune. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring it.
But we dig into the ending a bit more there, so do go back and listen to that. Only two left. Zendaya as Chani.
Yeah, she's interesting. She's an interesting actor because, I got to know her, as we all did, so young, right? and she's still very young. She's like 27 now, but because she kind of started as like a essentially a child actor, right? Like, how old is she in like Spider-Man? Like,
That was 7 years ago. Fuck.
I
Oh,
believe just
no.
doing quick math. Okay, she was like 21, but she's playing a high schooler, and she
Yeah.
kind of looks young. I think
Uh-huh.
it's hard for me to like perceive her as an adult. Weirdly,
Right. She was like a Disney kid.
exactly, yeah. But I think I think you can pretty clearly state that Chani is the emotional center of the film.
Yeah.
Paul is the plot center of the film, but the emotional arc of the film is Chani's feelings in regards to Paul.
Mhm.
Paul just kind of is doing almost like Paul is kind of like running on algorithms at a certain point, like literally, right? Like
Yeah.
once he's like seeing, he's just like doing, this is what I have to do according to my galaxy brain superpowers. And I think she does a quite good job of that. She does feel a little like she doesn't quite feel like of the Fremen as much as she should. It kind of feels like she's like, and I understand that's kind of what the role kind of pushes her in that direction, but like it feels a little bit like, I'm thinking of old like 80s, 90s action movies where like white guy hero goes to like exotic location and then meets a female lead of the film who is ostensibly part of the culture he's infiltrated, but who like kind of essentially feels like a westernized,
Mhm.
character trope. There's like character type. There's a little bit of that. I think she's still developing as an actor, but overall, I'm thumbs up. What about you?
So Chani, she is great. Zendaya is great in this role, I think. What I will you said how she's sort of the emotional center of the film. Again, I agree, because again, remember that diegetically men do not have emotions in Doom, in this universe. So of course she's going to be the emotional center because she is a woman. No, I think she plays this very well, and she does things that Chani in the book does not do, where she's almost speaking for the audience of being like, hey, this is sort of fucked up, hey, they're using us, they're not liberating us, they're simply a different oppressor that is coming in to use us with their B'nai Gesserit bullshit. And so I think she does a good job of not only being the emotional center of the film, but being almost that voice of what you maybe would hope the audience would be, but perhaps not if you didn't have Chani there to be like, hey, by the way, y'all, actually, this is sort of fucked up. So it's actually really important that you have Chani there, because otherwise everyone's like, yeah, Paul, he's coming to save us. He's going to free Arrakis. But she's a good grounding of the fucked up nature of Paul being the protagonist, but not a hero. So I thought that was good, as well as the change at the end where she isn't like, yeah, I'm going to be a concubine. Dope. Where she's actually like, no, fuck this. I thought that was a good change, and I think that she played it well. So 3 thumbs up. Only one person left. You know who I'm talking about, Devin? Anya Taylor-Joy.
I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, well, Anya had, I think, the stand away performance of this film. I'm going to, just to be real. But beyond her, there was also Timothée Chalamet. What'd you think of Tim?
I don't have the words to say how I felt about it, so I'm just gonna make recourse, as I often do as a professor of English, to literature, and specifically to poetry. The way you hold my gaze makes me fear my own age, because something in me tells me you are going to offer me something. And for now, I'm not sure it's going to be something I want anymore. So that's how I feel, and how Josh Brolin feels about Timothée Chalamet. What about you, Ethan?
It's hard to top Brolin's words on Timothy Chalamet. So I won't.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's
He did
refuse to take a position.
Nothing more to be said. I will say he did a good job with his turn partway through after he had the water of life, where you're sort of wondering in the first half, like, is this going to be sort of a dipshit? Like, I learned a lot on my study abroad in Italy. Or is it going to be, is he going to bring that bravado in the second half? And I think that once he has the water of life, he does have that kind of more commanding presence that you otherwise wouldn't expect from Willy Wonka. So good on him for that. And there you have it. The cast of Dune, part 2.
Overall, they did a great job.
Yeah.
What else is there to say? It is notable, and I think this was palpable to me as we were going through. We're not fucking acting experts or whatever. I don't know how interesting our thoughts on like the top, how good anyone is, but it's notable how no one is bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to think of like these days big tentpole movies like this where just everyone is just like a base level of good. So even the people that I'm like, whatever, Christopher Walken, Javier Bardem, they were okay. Florence Pugh was okay. It's like, think of like every fucking Star Wars post-return movie, how many just dog shit performances there are, right?
Yeah.
Like, think of how many dog shit MCU performances there are.
Because you have to imagine if they got Christopher Walken for an MCU or a Star Wars film, they would have had to have the scene where they're emphasizing that we got Christopher Walken for an MCU or a Star Wars film, and it would have been the most dog shit scene ever. So kudos perhaps on Denis of how he made this, that he didn't fuck that up.
But it also does maybe just talk to, in some way, how bad of a world we live in. And how bad American culture has gotten, where like fucking Dune is being treated like it's fucking Macbeth or something. It's just like, oh, we need all the best actors and everyone's going to give very like staid and professional performances because this is Dune. We're not fucking around. This isn't us just having fun on the set of Doctor Strange 3. This is a real high culture product. So I don't know.
Can we just chat about one more thing before we put on the pants? You'll see what that means in a moment, audience.
Absolutely. We're pantsless right now.
The other actor that was cut from this was Stephen McKinley Henderson, who played Hawat, which is the Mentat. So they got rid of all the Mentats pretty much.
He's in the first one.
He is, yeah. But they pretty much got rid of the Mentats. They have dudes sitting around a table, but they got rid of these human computers, the Mentats, and they got rid of the Spice Guild as antagonists. Did you have any thoughts on those changes? They sort of, because to me it sort of played as like hashtag resistance. It was sort of just the Emperor being a dipshit. Maybe the Bene Gesserit were the ones behind it, but in the original one, there's this economic piece of like the guild is also pulling the strings, and you've got these Mentats, these human computers. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
No, that's actually a really good point, because it's one of these things where it's like when you're as familiar with the source text as we are, it's easy to lose sight of what the adaptation is emphasizing or not. But it was like there's so little spice in this movie, right? It's really just kind of in the background. It's obviously like the reason that the great houses are upset or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is like it is kind of a Star Warsification of Dune, maybe, because it becomes like resistance versus bad Empire. The Empire is bad because of how they're treating people, etc. But there maybe isn't, like, it's obviously there in the conceit, but the film's not really giving like a sense of the world off the planet. It'll be interesting to see if there's a Dune 3, if it goes there or not. But yeah, I do find myself missing especially the Space Guild, because something that's very clear in the novel is the Emperor has no power. The Emperor
Mhm.
just basically serves at the pleasure of the Space Guild, because they are what moves commodities through space, and they can't do that without spice, right? Like so that is kind of the social relations of this world, and we don't really get that at all in these films. And that I do think is something I'm missing.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. I think that's sort of a missing piece, as well as the Bene Gesserit almost come off as just like they're scheming for the sake of having schemes. Like they just need to be in
Yeah,
control
no,
of
that's
things.
true. Yeah,
But like they have aims in in the book of what they're going for. It's so there was some that was lost. I think in simplifying the story, and again, it's the to me it's getting dangerously close. I don't think it does. I think it avoids this, but getting dangerously close to the trope of like, if we just got rid of these evil elites, this
Yeah.
one or two specific people, everything would be dope. And again, I say this not knowing where Dune Part 3 is going to go, because if you remember after Dune Part 1, our big conversation was, I hope that they emphasize the fact that Paul as a messiah is actually not necessarily a good thing. Like him doing this universe-wide jihad actually is not necessarily good. And I think they were starting to strike that balance in Dune Part 2 of how they were talking about his ascension and him taking on this task. So we'll see in Dune Part 3, if and when that happens, if they maybe pull in some more of this that felt a bit more ambiguous in Dune Part 2.
yeah, and this is why for me the Lynch one is still number one. Because even if it fails in some ways, it is not taking the coward's path of simplification, right?
Right.
In my opinion. And it does feel a little bit like, yeah, this is an attempt to turn Dune into something that is more palatable to a kind of, a filmic logic of like good versus evil and whatnot. Again, like if we show up for part 3 and you watch them as a trilogy and we're actually just in the middle part of an arc in which it feels like it's a simple story, and then Dune 3 is partially about how like, oh, he has to just keep killing people and it never ends because there's this greater system at work. This could end up being very effective in relation to that larger trilogy, but as a standalone film, definitely a limitation of it.
Yep. So I think there's only one thing left to do, Devin.
Well, there's actually two. And that's because before we put on the pants, we need to pay homage to one of the legends of your tall, but I'm standing in front of you history. And I'm speaking, of course, about Mr. Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
The greatest rating system in the history of You're Tall, but I'm standing in front of you. I'm prepared to say. I don't know how you feel, Ethan.
We got so much more mileage out of Steve Buscemi than our previous two rating systems. So,
well, we had this idea to rate things in terms of Shia LaBeouf's, because we were like, that's funny and random.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, we need somebody else. And for some reason, we picked Walton Goggins. And here's the thing. I love Walton Goggins. I don't think we put him in a good position. I think we kind of Florence Pugh, Christopher Walken, him. Yeah. I don't think that's a role that serves his strengths.
That's on us. Yeah.
But Steve Buscemi came in, and from day one, it was just a different story.
Yeah. He's just here to work, and he's going to get the job done no matter what it is. And as the rating system, he excelled.
Absolutely. So today is really, it's not about, I don't want today to be remembered as the first day we put on the pants. I want today to be remembered as the time we retired with honor, put the jersey up into the rafters of one Steve Buscemi. Thank you for your service.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Buscemi.
Well, with that said, it's time to put on the pants.
All right.
Who is taking over for Steve Buscemi? Oh, I know. You're thinking, is it going to be a Tim Blake Nelson? Is it is it gonna be a Harry Dean Stanton? Fuck you. We're putting on the pants. It's Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah. All right, Joe.
You know him as Cypher from The Matrix. You know him as Ralph from The Sopranos. You know him as the guy from Memento. You know him as possibly a fourth thing. Joe Pantoliano is our new rating system for season 4.
Really excited for the opportunities that this will bring. I really sincerely hope we don't end up with another Walton Goggins situation.
Well, I guess there's only one way to get an early preview as to how this is going to go, and it's by putting on the pants. So Ethan, what kind of pants are you putting on Dune Part 2?
maybe this does not portend well, actually, because the Joe Pantoliano that I'm going to give to Dune Part 2 is I'm going to give it one Anya Taylor-Joy. Now, I know what you're saying. Anya Taylor-Joy has nothing to do with Joe Pantoliano. And most people would think that right up to the moment that you decide to put Anya Taylor-Joy into your rating system for Joe Pantoliano. So much like how if anyone who was watching as the Dune Part 2 premieres happened was like, hey, why is Anya Taylor-Joy off on the left side of this cast lineup for Dune Part 2? Hey, why do all the actors keep talking about this big secret thing? And then you watch the film and you're like, all right. Like she's like one line. She's like, we did it. She had like the Kamala Harris line or something. We did it, Paul. Like it's not even like great. But the fact that became such a thing about Dune Part 2 means that I must give the first Joe Pantoliano to Anya Taylor-Joy. Devin.
Man, that's a real Frank Herbert kind of situation. You imagine, you and your spouse are expecting a child. You go to the doctor, you get the ultrasound. They ask, hey, do you want to know your baby's sex? You say, sure, I need to know, how many gallons of paint to order and in what color. And they say, you're going to be giving birth to Joe Pantoliano. So, you get you hire a helicopter to drop a bomb full of Joe Pantoliano covered glitter onto, your unsuspecting home. And then, the big day comes, go to the doctor, out pops Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yep.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And as a fully sentient fetus, she's already speaking to you. She's got a lot to say. It's a challenging situation. Anyways, now that analogy has run far past its course, Devin, time to put on the pants for you. How are you going to rate Dune Part 2 in terms of Pantolianos?
Yeah, so as I said, quite liked this movie. And I liked it more, I think, than Dune Part 1. And so I think I'm going to give it 2 Joe Pantolianos. I'm going to put 2 pairs of pants on this baby.
Wow.
And they're going to be Joe Pantoliano as Captain Conrad Howard in Bad Boys 2. And they're going to be Joe Pantoliano as the voice of Peek in Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore. Because these are 2 sequels that I think we all know improved upon the originals. and the involvement of Joe Pantoliano was a huge part of that. So, 2 big pants up for Dune 2.
Is there a plural for
Maybe
Pantolianos? Yeah, it's coming together. As
I think it's like Brussels sprouts. I think it's like Joe's Pantoliano.
It's like attorneys general. It's Joe's Pantoliano. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, great start. You know what? I'm gonna throw in a third Joe Pantoliano
Wow.
for reprising his role as Captain Conrad Howard in Bad Boys for Life.
Oh.
So Dune 2 is leaving here with 3 big Joe Pantolianos
Wow.
and an Anya Taylor-Joy as well. That's a good haul. We're gonna have to see if anybody this season does more than what would you say the exchange rate for Anya Taylor's Joy to Joe's Pantoliano is? I'm gonna say you're getting at least like 12 Joe's Pantoliano per Anya Taylor-Joy, simply based on size of filmography at minimum.
That's true. That's easy. Yeah.
So based on that math, 14 Joe's Pantoliano passed out to Dune 2 this evening.
Yeah. Wow.
That's pretty good.
Now, Devin, we've had such a occasion kicking off season 4 with Dune Part 2. I'm sorry, I just have to tell you something. Okay.
Joe Pantoliano is the author of 2 memoirs. Who's Sorry Now? The True Story of a Stand-Up Guy. And Asylum, Hollywood Tales from My Great Depression, Brain Dis-Ease, Recovery, and Being My Mother's Son. So the first book is like, I fucking rule. Fuck you. And the second book is like, I'm really screwed up. And it's my mother's fault.
I have a feeling that one or both of those books may be a future rating for the films that we.
Yeah. I mean, geez, blaming shit on his mother. How is Joe Pantoliano not in Dune? He should have been the emperor, you know?
Oh, that would have been dope. But yeah. I just wanted to say that we've had such a joyous season 4 opener. I can't wait to be brought back down to earth with the monstrosity that is the Oscars. So I look forward to having just an atrocious time with you during our live episode here during, when is the Oscars? The 10th of the
Sunday the 10th, 7 to 10 p.m. EST.
Yeah.
So yeah, please join us. Keep an lookout for the Twitch link. We'll try to put it in this the show notes. We'll get it on Twitter and Instagram.
Watch it if you like the Oscars. Watch it if you hate the Oscars. Watch it if you like to see just a complete car wreck of a Twitch stream. Watch it if you want to just do us a favor and watch it if you want to leave us comments that we'll respond to during the stream. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of intros that you can
turn it on a computer with muted. Leave the house. You know, who has to know?
Yeah, that's the best of both worlds for everyone, frankly. So, yeah.
But yeah, we hope you tune in to the Oscars special, and thanks for coming in for season 4. And we'll be back with more after that. Lots of fun episodes planned, and like I said, or like Ethan said, plenty of shitty ones as well. So don't worry, we're not going to start making the podcast good or anything.
Why start now?
All right. Thank you all for listening to Your Tall, but I'm saying in front of you. Follow us on Twitter at YourTallPod or email us at YourTallPod@gmail.com. And I never shout out the Instagram, but we also have an Instagram. Is that also Your Tall Pod?
That sounds right.
Looks like it is. So also Your Tall Pod with an E on Instagram. Ethan is at Mathesippi on Twitter. I'm at Stale Cooper. I'm now unlocked, so you can retweet my tweets and try to get me fired. But guess what, motherfucker? I'm only employed for a year at a time. So you can only steal a maximum of 12 months of employment from me. And with that,
you're like the Muad'Dib. No one knows. You keep moving. Who is this Stale Cooper?
We're trying to get this professor fired, but it's almost like he doesn't have a job. He just like goes from place to place.
He knows our ways.
professors, they tend to go to one place and just stay there forever, but he just like moves around. I say that as I literally have not lived outside of Philly since 2014, but
Congrats.
institutionally, baby,
Yeah.
I'm getting around. All right. Love you all.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow.
Well, I don't know if all that's true, 'cause you got me and baby, I got Dune.
Dune. I got Dune, babe. I got Dune, babe. They say our pod won't pay the rent. Before it's earned, our money's all been spent.
I guess that's so we don't have a pot. At least I'm sure of all the things we got. Like
Dune. I got Dune, babe. I got Dune, babe.
I got flowers in the spring.
I got Dune to wear my ring.
And when I'm sad, Dune is a clown.
And if I get scared, Dune's always around.
So let them say Dune's pot's too long, 'cause I don't care. With Dune I can't go wrong.
Then put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain Dune can't climb. It's Dune. I got Dune, babe. I got Dune, babe. I got Dune, babe. I got Dune to hold my hand.
I've got Dune to understand.
I've got Dune to walk with me.
I've got Dune to talk with me.
I've got Dune to kiss goodnight.
And I got Dune to hold me tight.
I've got Dune I won't let go.
I've got Dune to love me so. We need another adaptation of Dune.
Dune. I've got Dune, babe. I've got Dune, babe. I got